There has to be some common sense.
Yes, sir. They have the car stopped at 10th and Ranch, Michael Byler.
We still don't know who pulled the trigger.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this members-only episode of Police Off the Cuff. Really, it's not a typical episode. What it is me giving back to you guys for all that you do for me. And I just wanted to yesterday, I know I put it all over social media. You'd have to be living in a bubble not to know that I shot an episode yesterday with People Magazine Investigates in regards to the Long Island serial killer. And it was a great experience. But one of the most important things, takeaway from it in regards to me and for my podcast and for you guys and all the support you guys give to me, is that someone, one of my subs, one of my fans, called People Magazine or recommended me or made them aware of me in some way. And I received a call from People Magazine Investigates based on my coverage of the Long Island serial killer case and Rex Heuermann and the arrest and all of that stuff. And I was quite flattered with that. And whoever did that, I don't know who it is. I'm going to ask them actually in our next interaction via email or phone. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You never know where this type of stuff can lead to. And it's a great thing. And it gives me sort of like almost like international exposure, because the show that I was interviewed for yesterday is going to air on October 2nd. And I don't have the time yet, but it's going to be on two TV stations simultaneously, HBO Max and Investigation Discovery Channel. So that's a huge amount of audience to cover that. And, as I said, I'm so flattered that someone from my audience recommended me to these people. And they were happy with me. They were happy. They said, you did a great job. You improv like unbelievably. One of the hardest things, I think, was, they wanted me like to have stuff memorized, like about, all the Gilgo 4, Megan Waterman and Maureen Brainerd Barnes, I can't even memorize all their names now. And it's not just their names and when they were killed or when they were reported missing, and all like details about them, where they were from. And that part was difficult. Melissa Bartolome, and of course, Megan Waterman. And the last one was Amber Costello. So I needed to know things about each one of their disappearances, as well as where they're from, the year they were killed. And if you really know the Gilgo case, the Long Island serial killer case, it's quite complicated. It's extremely complicated. And there's a lot of moving parts, of course, times, places, where people are from, how they were called, how they were contacted, where they advertised. Like Craigslist was most of them. Whether they were called with a burner phone. Two of them had their phones taken by the perpetrator, which we know now was Rex Heuermann. He used those phones to taunt their family members. So all of these little facts, they wanted to know this. They wanted to know things about where they were recovered. What does that mean? Then there was the Karen Regatta, who they recently identified, and she was known as the missing person number 7, or Jane Doe number 7. And she was recovered, or she went missing in 1996. And they just recently identified her. So that and her body parts were found on Fire Island, which differed from the other 11 bodies that they found in the Gilgo Beach area. So all of these things are, little proclivities that about this case, little tidbits, but that are important. Then, of course, they wanted to touch upon why did it take so long to solve this case? And of course, what they were referring to, which is what everyone is which is really going to be a bigger story even than the arrest, is if they find out that Rex Heuermann during from 2010 to 2020 to 2023, when he was ultimately arrested, if they find out that he's killed between those years, of course they're going to really blame it on the Suffolk County Police and the dysfunctional nature of that department. And specifically, they were referring to Chief Burke, who we know was the chief who ran the Suffolk County Police Department, and he got arrested for beating up a perpetrator who stole a sex tape out of his car, which many feel, well, some people felt, and the conspiracy theorists felt, that Burke was a potentially suspect in the Gilgo Beach serial killings. So now we know he didn't. He was not. Well, some people probably still are not satisfied because many people think, in regards to the Long Island serial killings, that there was more than one perpetrator. I personally do not think. I think that they got the guy. I think they have the man that did all of them. And one of the things we discussed was, when Rex Heuermann goes to trial, right now he's being charged with 3 of the murders of the Gilgo 4. If, or even we may be overly confident, I'm not going to say when, but if he gets convicted, he's of course facing life without parole because there's no death penalty in New York. This would be a death penalty case if New York still had the death penalty. So at that point, and he gets convicted, will he talk then? Will he then want to maybe brag about what he did? Because there's no downside for him to talk. In fact, there's an upside. They could promise him a higher level of privileges in prison, and that's all the state will have to negotiate with. And since Rex Heuermann, upon conviction, if convicted, will be doing life without parole, then there's a possibility that after the trial, again, if convicted, he may talk and come clean with all the murders that he's committed. So that's the hope, because the police is still, of course, investigating. There's recently a case that they uncovered down in South Carolina that Rex Heuermann is a suspect in. There's, I think, 4 murders in the Las Vegas area. And of course, Rex Heuermann had a timeshare, I believe, in Las Vegas. There was 4 murders of, again, fitting the profile of sex workers. There was 4 murders in the Atlantic City area, and I believe that they've already cleared him from them. They've decided that he didn't commit those murders. So there's a lot more investigation to go on. We'll be following this case. I want to show some of the pictures from yesterday. This is the picture I posted everywhere. It's all over the social media. And as you could see, it has my name, Bill Cannon interview, LISK, that's the abbreviation, Long Island serial killer. And of course, it's the People Magazine Investigates is the name of the show. And these are the 2 producers. The 2 on the left is Lauren Vance, and the other producer's name, her last name is Schneider. I don't have a first name right now, but they're really nice people. They really helped me get through this interview. The interview took several hours, as they were asking me questions, and you'd respond, and then they would you got to remember they're going to edit all of this stuff. So several hours of an interview may be edited down to just minutes. So I said that to them. I said, "Is this 3 hour, 4 hour interview, whatever it is going to be 1 minute of airtime?" And they go, "Oh no, no, it'll be longer than that." I go, "Thank the Lord," you know. So there's me sitting in the room with all the cameras. Uh, I look very sternly there, but I just want to give you guys an idea of what it was like. And the good thing is I've done this before, so I wasn't nervous or anything. And I was I did 6 episodes, of course, of the investigation discovery show, The Perfect Murder. And so I had a lot of experience from doing that, which was, excellent experience. And I've been interviewed lots of times on other shows also. I did a show over the wintertime for New York Homicide that's going to show on the Oxygen Network, I believe in September. So look at that. I got a TV show coming up in September and another one in October. We got to keep this thing rolling, you know? So I just wanted to really share this with you guys because, as I said, it was a great experience. And you guys are, of course, the channel members and the folks that someone probably that's watching this is the person that called them and said, "Oh, you should put this guy on." And again, I don't know who it is, but thank you so much. And thank all of you guys for all that you do and all that, all the support you give to this channel. It's very much appreciated. They asked questions. The main questions, of course, was always, and one of the things, on the screen, there's the Gilgo 4. And whenever I refer to the Gilgo 4 on this show, I, of course, can pull up that slide. I pull up that slide, and we got Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartolome, Amberlynn Costello, and Megan Waterman. And it gives a little bit of a blurb on each one. But without that, and when you have to commit all of this stuff to memory, as well as, how old they were, where they're from, what date they reported missing, it becomes a lot to remember. It really does. It gets crazy. So, they said, of course, "Oh, you're the best when you improv." Yeah, because I was a college professor for 10 and a half years, so I know how to talk. B, I've done 1,100 episodes of Police Off the Cuff. So that gives you a lot of training. I think that this show does certain skills, certain skills that translate to other areas. And this was the big topic yesterday, of course, when they raised the specter of the Suffolk County Police Department. Why in 10 years or 11 years previous to the task force being formed, did they not act upon the lead for the Chevy Avalanche? And David Schaller, who was Amber Costello's roommate, pimp, whatever you want to say, and he reported to the police in regards to the last time Amber Costello was seen, the person that came to the house who described him physically, 6'4", 6'6", 280 to 300 pounds. He was the one that came up with the word ogre. He looked like an ogre. And many people want to know, then why did they not act upon that lead? Why did it take the task force, once it was formed, 6 weeks to identify Rex Heuermann? 6 weeks. And in the previous 10, 11 years, no progress. We discussed a lot about how the investigation was run, about potentially how they kept much of the information secret. Remember when they released this a couple of years ago? Either that's HM or WH, right? A belt that one of the victims was wrapped in. They felt that the killer had touched that. I'm sure they swabbed it for DNA. That should have been released much earlier. You have to make investigative decisions sometimes when the case isn't going anywhere. Then you got to take some chances. you got to release some things that maybe you would have kept close to the vest, but the case was 10, 11 years old with no perpetrator, with no leads, and with no suspect. I think you got to take some chances. There's another picture of the WH or HM, depending on how you're looking at it. So that should have been released. The other thing we discussed was when they released very recently the 911 tapes of Shannan Gilbert. That was, of course, sitting there for years and years and years, and I guess the decision was made not to put it out there. And when I was interviewed relative to Shannan Gilbert, my opinion is that she is not a victim of Rex Heuermann. And I have numerous reasons for that opinion. And to hear them, you're going to have to watch the episode of People Magazine Investigates. But it's, as I said on this interview, this case is it's highly complicated. It took place over a bunch of years, extremely complicated, nothing simple about this case. And now that they have an arrest, they can not rest, but they know that the perpetrator is not going anywhere. Sort of sad for the families, of course. Is this at all, the word closure is always used. You look at this guy and he could be John Q. anybody, right? However, he's not John Q. anybody. He's an accused and arrested serial killer. So when you look at him and knowing some of the things that he's done, even besides the murders, how about his searching of child porn sites, of sexually sadistic sites? How about all of that? So it's you can't look at him and say, oh, many people still say he's innocent or proven guilty. But when we know some of the other things he's done, even if you put the murders aside, he is, as Rodney Harrison described, a monster. Rex Heuermann is an actual monster, Long Island serial killer suspect Rex Heuermann lives just across the bay from haunting Gilgo Beach murder scene. And then some of the 7 other bodies that he's yet to be charged with. And actually, out of the Gilgo 4, he's only been charged with 3 so far. They believe they're going to be able to charge him with the 4th. But so this case is so far from being over. And as I said, it's complicated. It's still going to go on. There's a picture on the screen of his family, his wife, Essa Ellerup, and his 2 adult children. Everyone refers to them as children, but they are adults. So we're going to continue. We're going to continue following this case, and again, October 2nd, People Magazine Investigates on HBO Max and on Investigation Discovery Channel. And as soon as I know the time, I will put it out there on social media. I will announce it on the Police Off the Cuff show. So I just wanted to do a sort of a short little blurb for you guys, channel members, and to show my appreciation and just to give you a little inside view of what happened yesterday when I shot this show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for all you guys do. It's so much appreciated, and I'll see you soon.
One episode just ain't enough.